This week, we get all kinds of amazing new trailers from Marvel and DC and all over the place. We get the first glimpse at Spider-Man Noir on Amazon. We get the first glimpse at Season 2 of Peacemaker from DC. Andor is getting really good and finally bringing the action. And we talk about all kinds of other things happening out there in the pop culture universe. Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse. Warning.
Red alert.
Ay, 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 ay!
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger!
That's the emergency alert.
This episode is full of spoilers for some of the latest and greatest nerdy movies and shows.
Spoilers.
Listener discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse podcast. I'm Billy Taylor.
And I'm Taylor Oxner.
And we are here again to talk about all the fun stuff happening out there in the pop culture universe. But before we jump into that, Taylor, what have you been nerding out about this week, man?
This week, last Saturday was Backlash, WWE's Backlash event. It took place in St. Louis, and Randy Orton had basically his last fight with John Cena. So it was good. There was some shenanigans for John Cena to win because he's a heel, of course. You know. So, and it's his last, his farewell tour is going on right now now we know for sure it's December will be his last match. We know it'll be at a Saturday night event, but we don't know and it'll be in Boston, but we don't know anything else from that. So it'll be from where he's from.
Gotcha.
Which will be cool. But most people are still thinking he's going to go babyface between now and then, but I don't know. It's not that much time, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but I guess so. We get wrestling usually twice a week, most weeks, and then some weeks we get it 3 times a week. And if we're really lucky, we get it 4 times a week.
Yeah.
So it's you always have Raw on Monday nights, and you have SmackDown on Friday nights, and then PLEs are sometimes one day, and sometimes they're 2 days. And by PLEs, I mean premium live events. So it's your WrestleMania, your Backlash, your Royal Rumbles, things like that of that nature. But they also have Saturday night main events, which are they're weird because they're only on Saturday. They're only 1-day events, but they're on Saturday nights, and there's usually only 3 fights, and it basically is the days SNL isn't doing an episode.
Gotcha.
It seems that's what it seems like. That's how they place those. So next weekend we're getting a Saturday night main event, which is fun. So that means I get 2 weeks this month that we're at 3 days of wrestling. So.
Very cool. It sounds like a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah, I mean this isn't anything new. So it's just this is how it's been for a long time. The Saturday night main events are a newer thing, but if you really look at it, they are not a new thing. They were doing them in the 70s and 80s, actually the 80s.
Yeah.
Is when they were doing them, so they just brought them back, which they do that in wrestling all the time. So yeah, it's really a lot of fun. If you're into it, right now is actually a really good time. It's right after WrestleMania. Yeah, you can get caught up. It's always a good jumping on point is the week right after WrestleMania, and we're only 3 to 4 weeks post, so there's not much to catch up on.
Yeah.
From
your point of view, how have things been since they've jumped over to Netflix?
I mean, the product's never been better. The big thing that happened was the hand change between McMahon and Triple H.
Okay.
That seemed to be the biggest change of everything. It changed the whole product where it came down to from creative basically standpoint.
Cool.
That man's basically been magic for that whole brand. That and they've had some really good stuff from the whole Cody Rhodes thing, making him the quarterback to now this John Cena heel turn. I mean, there's just a lot going on. The Rock, being this like mysterious figure that just kind of walks in and out of wrestling and causes chaos and then just disappears.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm pretty sure that Triple H can't stand him, I mean the way, because they like, it's funny, they'll do like interviews and whatnot, and the interviews will be like, they'll be talking about creative and they'll not forget to mention each other in those interviews, but they'll mention like everyone around them.
Right.
So it's like these underhanded things, and you're just like, what? But I think it's good for the brand as a whole. I just, I just think Triple H is just like, this guy. He comes in, he does whatever he wants, and then I have to figure everything around it. It's kind of what it seems creatively behind the scenes,
Yeah.
but it's cool. I can tell you this: if you sit down, and I can tell you for 1 hour, I can make you a wrestling fan. Like, I can. If you sit down with me for 1 hour, or if I can tell you what to watch, by the end of it, you'll be like, okay, I need to watch more.
Yep.
I can guarantee it. It's all in how it's presented to you. And trust me, the world, the way it is right now, how crazy and everything, it's an escape, and it's it's funny because like I know that the outcomes are rigged and like everything like that, like but that's not the point. Like, the stories are amazing, the athleticism, like people jumping around, doing flips, like taking beatings, taking falls, things like that. I don't know, it just you get sucked in to like the drama of it all. Like, even like the weird, like the supernatural elements of it are super weird. There's all kinds of stuff that's actually like really goofy, but like for some reason you just don't care like when you're watching it, and like I don't know, it like makes it fun. There's characters there for comedy. Like, there's characters there for just to scare the bejesus out of you.
Yep.
If you're 10.
Right.
I remember the Undertaker scaring the crap out of me when I was a little kid. Just like, that's the giant guy needs his eyeballs rolled back in the back of his head, and there's lightning and everything goes dark. Like, he has this big hat, like, and he's like 7 foot tall. Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think right now it's a good escape, and it's like an escape that's like, I think it's needed right now. I don't know. So, like, they're doing their Crown Jewel event this year in Perth,
Oh, nice.
which is like, Crown Jewel is like, there's a belt for Crown Jewel, and you have it for a full year until they do Crown Jewel again. Like, that's it. It's one of those belts. Like, you can only win it at Crown Jewel. You can't try to get it from another wrestler between. Like, it has to be done there, which is like kind of crazy. And the belt's like ginormous. It's gorgeous. It's really cool. And they have it at all kinds of cool places, but they're having it at Perth, Australia this year, which is amazing. Last year's in Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia, or was it India? I know I'm getting that mixed up. I just, for life of me, I can't. But anyway, it's always a really big deal. And that's in October this year. So looking forward to that.
Nice. I grew up, watching it here and there, but not religiously like I watched other things because I had really close friends who just loved it. So if I was hanging out with one of them, that's what we were doing or whatever. And it always looks so fun. Someone once compared it to my grandma's soap operas. They're like, that's how into it we are.
No, it's for real. So like, Lauren and I, during her pregnancy, watched Royal Rumbles, and then she was like, I need more, because the idea of a Royal Rumble, because I wanted to show it to her, because I was like, have you ever watched one of these? And she goes, no, I think wrestling's stupid. And I go, okay. And I laughed. I remember that, laughing, being like, okay. And I showed her this match, and she's just like, why is this like mesmerizing? This is like every 2 minutes, like a big giant person comes out with this crazy gimmick. Because I think the first one I showed her was like one from like the 80s with like Hulk Hogan and like Big Boss Man and Jake the Snake. Like, everybody had like a weird gimmick, back in the day.
Uh-huh.
And so it was just like this crazy thing. And then I was like, you want to watch another one? She's like, yeah. And so we wound up watching, what do they have, like 27, I think now? Like we probably watched 20, 21, 23 of them while she was pregnant, of those matches. And then finally it was like, let's watch a different type of match. And so we watched, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's coming to Netflix, let's just start watching it. And so then we did, and now we're so sucked in. Storylines, we have our favorite characters. Since we've started watching it, we've been to two live events in Kansas City, one for SmackDown and one for Raw. We took our little kid and my dad to the Raw one a couple weeks ago. I talked about on the show. But yeah, just it's incredible.
That's awesome. Well, let's see. For me, my nerding out this week has to do with a comic book. It's funny because I texted you a few days back after I read it, but we all know how much I loved Power Rangers growing up, and then a handful of years back, they came out with this Power Rangers comic book that took the same general idea, the same characters, and just made it very, I don't know, adult, I guess, for lack of better words. It was very geared towards adult with the stories and the way they did things, and it wasn't
Yeah,
childish. Well,
palatable to people not 10.
right. And I saw that they were coming out with this new Captain Planet comic book, and it made me kind of laugh. That was another show I liked a lot as a kid, but I was very curious in how it would be. And I got my hands on issue number one. It just came out last week, and I read it. And it's not a long issue. It definitely ends on a cliffhanger, but just this first issue made me excited, and I really believe that they're going to do to this Captain Planet comic book exactly what happened to the Power Rangers in the comic book and make it very adult. And I'm so excited at how good I thought this first issue was. And it kind of ends with the rings going out to I don't even want to say kids. They look like quite a bit older than kids, but it's the same characters with the same powers. And just the way it ends on this cliffhanger, it looks like the government is trying to shoot down Captain Planet, and when he kind of, what's the word, he gets shot and like the rings deform and fly out because it starts with that woman Gaia. If you remember that show, she's kind of like the Earth's
Yeah.
guardian or whatever. She has all five rings, but she gets captured and Captain Planet gets shot down and those rings like shoot all across Earth. And I don't know, just I'm already telling that I'm gonna love it, and I'm sad that it only comes out once a month.
Yeah, to love a new comic sucks sometimes.
Yeah, but that's my nerding out. I am nerding out about comic book Captain Planet.
That's awesome.
Well, hey, let's jump into some news. We got quite a bit with Marvel, as usual. I don't know if you had a chance to see this, but yesterday the first trailer for Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage dropped. Did you have a chance to see it?
No.
It looks a lot of fun. It was a teaser, but we get to see him in action, and it's all black and white, and the villains look very period piece, and it just looks like a lot of fun, and I'm gonna definitely enjoy watching it.
I didn't even know that came out. I knew they were talking about it. I didn't know that was actually. I gotta put it on my thing now so I don't forget.
Yeah, and the show, I can't remember. It comes out later this year, but yeah, the first trailer's out, and anyone that's interested, even remotely, you should go watch it. It looks a lot of fun. And then some X-Men news. They just announced that in the new MCU X-Men reboot, they have not mentioned a lot of casting at all, but they did announce that the character Polaris is going to be in it, and it's going to be played by the actress Neve Campbell from Scream and other things. But not only that, that character is going to show up in season 2 of X-Men 97, and she's going to provide the voice in that cartoon as well.
It's awesome.
Get a little bit of Polaris action going on. Okay, we're recording on a Tuesday right now, and I've been looking every hour or so, and it hasn't dropped yet, but the first trailer for Ironheart is supposed to drop today. So by the time you guys are listening to this episode, you should be able to get online and see it.
Awesome. Can you find it?
I looked right before we started this recording, and I still haven't seen it yet, but all the news things are saying today's when it drops. So maybe they'll do a big social media post later or something like that.
Okay.
We all know Avengers Doomsday is on the horizon, and they've actually began filming it. But funny enough, some actors have been interviewed about some things, and obviously they can't talk about much. But one thing they did say was the script's not even finished. They said we've begun filming, but the script isn't finished. So there are things the actors don't even know yet. So that's kind of interesting, I think.
Well, that was the same with Endgame.
Right. Even they were in the dark about a lot of things.
Yeah. So what they mean by we got to make sure people listening understand when they say a script isn't finished. It's not. They know what the ending is going to be.
Yes, yes.
They know the ending is going to be. It's not that the end of the script isn't finished. What they're working on is how do we get past to A and B, and as the movie has progressed they realize, well, maybe we need to add another scene here or there.
Right. Or change something or whatever.
Yes.
They want their product to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're on these sets, a lot of moving parts, especially writers on a movie like this, rewrites are inevitable.
Oh yeah.
They are Infinity Stones. They are Tony Stark. They are Thanos.
Yep. Yep.
It's one of those things where it's like sometimes they're writing on the fly, but this movie has been written.
That is one good thing about
The
Marvel is they put the work in. They're okay with making those last minute changes, even if it adds a little bit more work. And Endgame is a good example of that because that movie might go down in history as one of the best superhero movies of all time.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think at this point, maybe in game, maybe people could say Infinity War
Oh,
was
definitely.
better just because of the snap and everything. Like to end a movie like that is ballsy.
Oh yeah, and like it was such a shock that you don't see coming at all.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I
Because
still am a fan of like the Black Panther, the first one.
uh-huh.
I think is like an amazing movie. I still think Captain America Winter Soldier is still an amazing movie.
Oh yeah, that one is so good. I really like the first one too, but that one might be my favorite Captain America movie.
Of all the Captain America movies, that is my favorite one.
Yeah.
I think Civil War is probably the most fun out of all of them,
Uh-huh.
but I think that one is the best movie.
Oh yeah, all the espionage and all the twists and stuff and
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's
yeah,
great.
it's crazy.
Well, let's see. Still speaking of Avengers Doomsday, Alan Cumming, who played Nightcrawler in X2 back in the day, he was in an interview and someone brought up his, return to Marvel and all that. And he talked about he can't really say a whole lot, but he's really excited. And his favorite on screen thing that he'll be doing in this next thing is he's actually in a fight scene with Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. And he said that he can't give a whole lot of details, but his favorite thing that is happening right now is this big fight scene with Pedro Pascal, and he's really excited about it. So again, that doesn't really give a lot of details, but I think that'll be cool to see when it does come out.
That's a cool power combination to see against each other.
Yeah. And then Mark Ruffalo was also in an interview, and someone brought up, what's up with Hulk? He's ragey, and then he's smart, and then he's big, and then he's not as big, and we haven't seen him in a while. And he basically said that he can't say a whole lot, and there's still a lot of the whole rights stuff going on, so we're not exactly going to see a solo Hulk movie anytime soon. But he said over the course of 4 different upcoming Marvel movies, we're going to see a whole lot of things happening with Hulk, and it's going to basically flesh out his story. It just won't be in one Hulk movie, it'll be spread out over the course of 4 different Marvel movies.
Man, Universal really doesn't want to give up those
I
rights.
know. So annoying. And then some more news about Fantastic Four. We know that Herbie the Robot's going to be in that movie, but we just learned who the voice actor is. And the voice actor is Matthew Wood. And that name might not mean a whole lot to people, but for a nerd like me who loves Star Wars and whatnot, he was the voice of General Grievous in the Star Wars movies and the cartoon. And he was also the voice of the, Roger, Roger, all those droids.
Okay,
So he's doing the robot Herbie's voice in the new Fantastic Four movie, and I think that's kind of cool.
that's really cool.
Let's see. There was another interview, this time with Chris Hemsworth, and someone brought up Thor and the Thor franchise and when are we going to see the next Thor movie? And he said there actually is a Thor 5 in the works. This one is not going to have Taika Waititi, and it actually doesn't have a director attached to it right now. And he's really, really campaigning to get this director, Sam Hargrave, who was in charge of the Extraction movie that Chris Hemsworth was a part of. He really wants him to take over. So that's something he's kind of working to make happen. And did you ever see that Extraction movie?
No, I didn't. I heard it was a pretty good action flick though.
Yeah, it was really good. And we have one of our local comic book authors and artists in the Kansas City area, Andy Parks, and he made that graphic novel, See You Dad, which this Extraction movie on Netflix was based on. So we had a local guy whose book was turned into a Netflix movie, and I think that's really cool, starring Chris Hemsworth. But yeah, Chris wants this director of that movie to take charge of the Thor franchise, and it's actually a really good movie, and I think they even had a sequel recently come out. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but yeah, I think that could work.
Okay.
Now, over with DC, we've got a few trailers coming down the pipe in this area as well. So they just released yesterday, as of us recording, the Peacemaker Season 2 trailer, and that thing was full of DCU connectivity. It was really fun to watch. We got to see Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner, and we got to see Hawk Girl, and we got to see Maxwell Lord, played by Sean Gunn, and all the characters we loved from the first season. And it looked hilarious, but it also looks good. It doesn't just look funny. I think it'll be just like season 1, if not better.
That's awesome.
We recently talked a little bit about Matt Reeves becoming pretty ill and is having a hard time working on the Batman Part 2. And there was a rumor going on about a week ago that he's dropped out of wanting to do this whatsoever. But James Gunn actually made a big post a couple of days ago saying this is all rumors. Matt is still completely connected and in charge of the Batman franchise. So anyone reading those rumors, James Gunn said it's not true. And it might take a little bit before it gets here. It's not even going to start filming until spring 2026, but it's still happening and it still has Matt Reeves connected to it.
Awesome.
As of us recording right now, the first full-length trailer for Superman drops tomorrow, Wednesday. So again, you guys listening to this, that's something you're going to be able to go see online if you haven't seen it already. I am so excited. You know I'm excited about this. The trailers we've already received are awesome, and those were just teasers. I can't wait to see what more they put in the trailer. And then at the same time, I hope they don't put too much.
I hope we at least get like a plot-ish.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool to know. You know, we know kind of who's in it, but it'll be nice to know where they're going with it. Yeah, you're right.
That'd be cool.
Over with Star Wars, it's funny that I've been saying the past couple of weeks, Andor has been really hard for me to connect to, but as of last week, I had only watched the first 5 episodes, and now I've watched the first 9 episodes, and let me tell you, episode 6, that was the one that pulled me in.
Oh,
After
jeez.
after I watched episode 6, I couldn't watch 7, 8, and 9 fast enough. And holy moly, number 9 was amazing. Mon Mothma finally does this big speech in front of the whole Senate and all the representatives, and she basically says that Emperor Palpatine is evil, going against everything that she's supposed to be going with. So she has to be extracted by the building by Cassian Andor. And anyway, long story short, it was so dang good, and I'm so happy that I finally am into this. But yeah, at the end of this episode, Mon Mothma is definitely out as a rebel, and she's having to be protected. And it's really cool. The Star Wars Rebels animated series, basically, after you watch Andor season 2, episode 9, you should go watch Rebels season 3, episode 18, and their crew are the ones who smuggle her to safety. Now, this doesn't happen in the show. We just have Cassian getting her out of that building. But in terms of continuity, if you go watch season 3, episode 18 of Star Wars Rebels, you'll see kind of what happens next. And I love the connectivity of all this stuff. And there's only 3 more episodes that actually dropped today as I was recording. So we'll be able to talk about the last part of it next week. And then, of course, it leads right into the movie Rogue One, and we all know how that ends.
Yeah. Do you
Uh,
feel like you're at peace with these characters being gone?
I think so. It's, you know, it's always a bummer when good dies to protect us from evil, but it's just, I don't know, the story's very well done. We also got our first introduction to one of my favorite droids, K2SO, who's voiced by Alan Tudyk. He's that smart aleck robot from Star Wars Rogue One. We saw him for the first time in this last episode 9 of Andor, so I'm sure we'll get to see some more of him in action these next 3 episodes.
All right.
Out there in all the other places in the pop culture universe, they just announced that Shredder is getting his own IDW comic book series that is supposedly going to upend everything we know about the Turtles. So, like, who knows what that means? But for those of you who love reading those Turtle comic books, we're about to get a solo Shredder book.
You think it's gonna make why can't I remember the rat's name?
Splinter?
Splinter. Yeah. God. I wonder if they're gonna make Splinter look like an a-hole.
I don't know. Who knows? And I wonder, yeah, I was also wondering what do they mean by kind of upend everything we know and love, but who knows? We've also in the past talked about Henry Cavill starring in a new Highlander reboot. That's going to start filming in 4 months from now in September. So that's on the horizon. I think
That's gonna be awesome.
yeah, that's going to be so cool. I love Henry Cavill, and he was a great Superman. The writing wasn't amazing, but I thought he did a great job. And then, of course, he was Geralt in The Witcher. He's just good in what he does, so I'm excited to see him as the new Highlander.
Yeah.
The Fallout series, season 2 hasn't even started yet. It comes out this December, but they've already renewed it for season 3. That's how much of a hit it was. They just gave that the green light.
Awesome.
Did you ever read or watch old movies of the character Barbarella?
I've seen the movie.
Yeah. So Edgar Wright's Barbarella is about to get a reboot, and Sydney Sweeney is going to be the main character.
Oh my gosh. We're talking about Barbarella, like who is played by Pamela Anderson, or the one that was played like the old like sci-fi movie.
The picture that I saw attached to it looked like the old sci-fi stuff.
Okay. I can never remember because they're both named something really similar. I can't, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's funny.
We're also getting another new Godzilla movie. This one's called Godzilla X Kong Supernova. And there was zero details except for some artwork with the title on it. But there's another one of those movies coming. Those are pretty fun usually.
Awesome. They're
Yeah.
awesome.
We've talked a little bit about how they're making a new Lord of the Rings movie. It's called Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. Well, this week they put a release date to it, and that will be released in theaters December 17th, 2027. That'll be fun to revisit Middle Earth. I always enjoyed stories that involved Gollum, so that'll be fun to watch. Go
That
ahead, go
was
ahead.
actually my least favorite part of those movies.
Oh,
Was
really?
looking. I couldn't stand looking at him.
Oh, he's for sure hard to look at.
Like I thought he was a piece of crap.
Oh,
And
definitely.
I just the whole time I'm just like I don't want to look at you. Or those scenes with just those are my least favorite scenes with just Sam and Frodo.
Yeah, and Gollum.
That's my least favorite stuff in the whole all of it.
And
I'd rather just watch all the fights, the
yeah.
big giant war fights. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, Gollum's for sure a piece of junk. Especially
Yeah.
when they show his origin in the Hobbit movies. He murders his best friend to get the ring. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just really liked the mocap of it all. That was fairly new back when they started doing that. And I was just
Yeah.
amazed by it. And yeah, I am interested to see what they do with this movie because, I mean, they're making a whole movie out of stuff between paragraphs that you never saw in the book or the movie. So yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's either gonna be awesome or it's gonna be horrible.
Right. Hopefully awesome.
Yeah.
The final bit of news I have on the list here today is for fans of The Bear. We're about a month away from season 4 premiering on June 25th. That's going to be fun. I love that show.
Yeah. Lauren watched that show. I never got around to watching it.
Okay. It has a very rough family dynamic.
Yeah.
There's this one episode, the Christmas episode, I cannot think of the title of it, very popular episode, where you really see how their family reacts to one another, especially the mom who's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's very intense. And then it gives you a deeper insight to the rest of the family. And then, of course, by the next episode, it fast forwards back to the present and everything. But yeah, for a cooking show, a fake cooking show, I didn't really know how into it I would get. But after watching the first couple episodes, my wife and I were both pretty hooked. So yeah, I'm excited for season 4 to be coming.
Right on.
But that's about it for the news this week. I know we're in the middle of May. There's a couple of cons next month. That'll be a little bit fun. There's the Anime Fest, which is going to also have a lot of wrestlers and anime actors. There's the KC Crypticon, which is going to have a lot of horror-related actors who happen to be in a ton of other stuff. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled on social media if you're looking for something to do in the Kansas City area. But as for us here at the Taylorverse, I've been Billy Taylor.
And Taylor Oxner.
Come back next week, guys. Same Taylor time, same Taylor channel.
Bye.
Bye.